Today I want to talk about Alabama's demonstrative win and look around the SEC as we go into week 9 of this college football regular season, and all that's coming up after the bumper.
Don't be cornering me. Hold up. Time. You gotta help me with that corner
What's up, kinfolk? It's RJ Young. I am not on the step mill. Consider hitting the like and subscribe button because I upload a video every single day. It's always college football related, sports related. We have a good time. Today, I want to talk about the SEC and the march to the SEC championship. Take a look around what happened during week 8 of the SEC, or week 9, excuse me. I just said week 9 of the SEC. And really start with Alabama, who's been a cut above from jump, 6-0, beat the hell out of Mississippi State, 41-0. Their one win comes against an LSU team that I told you was not going to be very good to begin with. We'll talk about them a little bit later. But Alabama stopped a mud hole in Mississippi State and walked it dry. Mac Jones continues his hunt for the Heisman Trophy, 24 of 31, 291 yards, 4 touchdowns. Najee Harris continues to be perhaps another Heisman finalist, 21 carries, 119 yards. Devontae Smith is marching toward trying to win that Biletnikoff Award, 11 catches for 203 yards with 4 touchdowns. Goodness me. And the defense has definitely found its way since the Tennessee game, basically. I mean, like, they've just been destroying people. Georgia, a 14-3 blowout as the number 5 team in the country over Kentucky. Kentucky falls to 2-4. Of course, Georgia's at 4-1 with their one loss coming to Alabama. Stetson Bennett, 9 of 13 for 131 with 2 picks. Like, I don't know why Kirby Smart is always more consumed with having the second best quarterback on his depth chart be his starting quarterback, but he did it with Jake Fromm and Justin Fields, and he's doing it now with Stetson Bennett and JT Daniels. Zamir White supplants himself as the starting tailback for the Georgia Bulldogs, 26 carries, 136 yards, 1 touchdown. James Cook led all receivers, 4 catches, 62 yards. Arkansas, Texas A&M. Ty Richardson and I talked about Arkansas and how this felt like the year in which they could go to Kyle Field and get a W. We were wrong. Texas A&M beats Arkansas 42-31. Kellen Mond goes 21-26, efficient as hell, 260 yards, 3 touchdowns. Rakeem Boyd, 18 carries, 100 yards, 1 touchdown, outstanding for him. And then Treylon Burks, 7 catches, 117 yards for 2 TDs. Again, Arkansas played great football at 2-3. Still think it's a very good football team. Texas A&M really needs to beat Alabama. Like, that's the long and the short of it. They got that win against Florida, the signature win of their season, the signature win of the Jimbo Fisher era. Perhaps they are turning the corner. Florida and Missouri, number 10 Florida at the time, beats Missouri 41-17 and then beats them with their fist in a all-out brawl at the center of the field. They released a joint statement today that felt like two dudes that had beat the hell out of each other as children and then said, wipe the blood off your face, wipe the snot off your face. Let's go talk to mom, see if she still takes us to McDonald's afterwards, to paraphrase Ryan McGee, who had a great take that I just told you on Twitter. Kyle Trask goes 21-36, 345, 4 touchdowns. Good grief. If Mac Jones wasn't going to win the Heisman, Kyle Trask would be right there. He still probably will get an invite. He also was their leading rusher, 6 carries, 47 yards. Kyle Pitts continues to march toward that Mackey Award as the best tight end in America, 5 catches for 81 yards. All right, LSU. I told y'all was going to catch 5 losses this year, and you ain't even got to Alabama yet. You caught, and you haven't played Florida. 48-11 to Auburn. 4-2 Auburn. Auburn that got beat by South Carolina, the same South Carolina that you beat by 50 or put up 52 on. Bo Nix, 18-24, 300 yards, 3 TDs. So you made Bo Nix look like a Heisman finalist. Nobody's done that. Nobody's done that except Bama last year. Like, what are we doing? Bo Nix also had 11 carries for 81 yards. That gives him 381 all-purpose with 4 total touchdowns against LSU. Anthony Schwartz, 4 catches, 123 yards, and a TD. 48 points they gave up to Auburn. LSU, dumpster fire. And remember, LSU fans were the folks that were showing up to tell me off all the time. And then, of course, Ole Miss puts up 54 on an unsavory Vanderbilt. 0-4, man. They could go winless. Like, we all thought that Arkansas had that. Arkansas's already got 2 wins. Vanderbilt could barely play football a couple of weeks ago, had to call off a couple games. Matt Corral, 31-34 for 412. Good grief. 6 passing touchdowns, 15 carries for Jerrion Ely, 95 yards rushing. Elijah Moore continues to destroy, 14 catches, 238 yards, and 3 touchdowns. Right now, it feels like Georgia and Florida are going to tell you who wins the SEC East to represent against what feels like an Alabama team that is just destroying anything and everything it touches. I think there's at least 3 Heisman finalists right now in the SEC: Mac Jones, Kyle Trask, and Najee Harris, though you could make a great argument for Devontae Smith, especially in the wake of what Jalen Waddle meant to Alabama and how his going, on the sidelines is going to really reveal whether or not John Mechie is that dude or Slade Bolden is that dude. Like, I bought all the Slade Bolden stock a couple years ago. That dude is absolutely going to be Alabama's favorite for a lot of reasons that have nothing to do with football. Looking at the analytics predictor, Allstate's giving, or the Allstate playoff predictor by ESPN Analytics, Alabama's got a 87% chance of making the playoff. Ohio State's got a 75% chance. Clemson has a 75% chance. Wisconsin has a 47% chance, provided they play. And then you get to Georgia at 24%. The reason I went down there is just to show you how likely it is for another SEC team to join Alabama in the playoff. But Notre Dame and Clemson are going to tell you something this weekend. Oregon SC got to be able to just run the table to get into this thing. I think that Ole Miss at 2-4 is the best 2-4 team in the entire country. I know that that's, being the world's, tallest 12-year-old doesn't do much for you in the grand scheme of things, but I do believe that when it comes to Lane Kiffin and what they could be next year, could be outstanding. Remember, he had Tennessee humming before he bolted for the USC job, and it felt like he, Ed Orgeron, James Craig, and Jim Chaney and Monty Kiffin were all going to, make it happen over there at Tennessee before he bolted Ole Miss, and perhaps he's trying to learn from those mistakes with the staff that he's put together. Jeff Lebby, I don't particularly care for DJ Durkin, but he is there. If they can recruit that area that is rich with talent, really just park your truck at South Panola and ask all those kids to come up to Oxford. Duh, right? You can go recruit Atlanta. You can go recruit Louisiana. You can recruit Texas. You recruit the hell out of Florida. Ole Miss has an opportunity to be good. Mississippi State, I'm not so sure, man. Like, at 1-4, might be the worst 1-4 team in the entire country. Think about that. Mississippi State's got one more win than Vanderbilt does, and Vanderbilt is winless. That's bad, dog. Missouri at 2-3 is really decent, and also a better football team than LSU. Think about that. That's how wild the SEC has been. All right, check out the AP Top 25 poll rankings update that I did earlier today on the show. Check out the Ohio State Big Ten roundup that I did earlier on the show. We'll have some more to say about the Power 5 and other goings on in the college football world. All right, that's it for me. Deuces.